Okay. That's nice. So today our topic is market structure. So when we say we have our market structure, we want to be able to define trend, right? We want to be able to define trend. So first, for you to determine market structure, you want to define trend. And we have two types of trend. No, I would say three. We have uptrend and we have downtrend. So market can be moving different direction. And the main trends we have uptrend is either the market is going uptrend, so the market is bullish, or so we have uptrend. We have downtrend, and then we also have a sideways trend. Or we can refer to it as just sideways trend or just markets in ranging area, so range. And I'll show you right here. So market can be uptrend, it can be downtrend, or it can be sideways trend, which is a ranging market. So in the case of an uptrend, what you would have, let me show you. So a textbook definition of it will be when market is in an uptrend, it creates, it does this. This and this, right? So right here, we'll see market creating impulsive move to the upside and creating a pullback to the downside, impulsive move to the upside and pullback to the downside, right? So now market is creating higher highs. The market will be creating higher highs and creating higher lows. Higher lows, and also higher highs again and higher lows. So why do we say this is higher highs? So I'll define this to you. So when we say impulsive move to the upside, so creating a bullish trend to the upside, right? So when you see market break structure to the upside, right, it's creating this level here, right? This level here is low, right? And here is high because this place is lower and this side is higher. So we call this higher high. We refer to this area, higher highs. And then this side right here now, this downtrend that market created, this now downtrend market created, that created a higher low, right? Is this low here is lower than this low. And if you notice again, this low also, right, is lower than this low. So we say this low is higher than this low here. So this is a higher low. This is a higher low. And this is a higher high because this high here is higher than this. So market will tend to be creating higher highs and higher lows when market is moving in an uptrend. So this would be our uptrend. So we said different type of markets, right? We said different type of markets. We have different type of market. We have uptrend, and we have downtrend. So this here is an uptrend, a market that is moving in an uptrend would create a market that is moving in an uptrend would create higher highs and higher lows. So if you are taking notes right now, so this is market structure, and a market that is uptrend, which is bullish. So here we have uptrend. So characteristics of an uptrend is market will be creating higher highs and higher lows, right? So uptrend. So we have three types of markets, right? We have three types of market structure. We have uptrend, we have downtrend, and we have sideways trend. And the characteristics of an uptrend is that markets will be creating higher highs and higher lows and will be breaking structure to the upside. So what do we refer to as a structure? So the previous high of this trend, so market will be breaking structure to the upside. So let me write here, let me type here. So let's define definition of an uptrend. So for you to identify a market that is bullish or is going uptrend, the uptrend definition of uptrend. Don't forget that we are defining market structure, and we say we have three types of markets. So three types of markets, market structure, and types of trend. Right? We have three types of trend. We have three types of trend. Please jot this down, is very important. We have three types of market or three types of trend. So the first one is uptrend, and the characteristics of an uptrend is first that market in an uptrend or in a market that is bullish, you see market creating higher highs and higher lows. And then the next one, the next is market will be breaking structure to the upside. Right? So market will be breaking structure to the upside. So there is always in an uptrend also, there is always an impulsive move. The market creates impulsive move to the upside. And creates pullback leg to the downside. So those are characteristics of an uptrend, right? So market will be breaking structure to the upside. So how does it break structure? The previous high here will create a new high, and this upside will be broken and create a new high. So if you see now, if I pick my arrow, you see that market is continuing to create break structure to the upside in an uptrend direction. So when we have, so the next trend that we are going to be defining right now is downtrend. But if you have any question up to now, you can ask regarding the uptrend. If you have any question here, or you have anything that is not clear here, please ask the question before we move to the next definition, which is the downtrend. So do anybody have any question? If you have, please type in the chat box or you're mute and ask your question. So we said we have three types of market structure. So market direction. Market can either be bullish, moving on an uptrend, or it can be bearish, moving in a downtrend, or it can be sideways, so being in a range, so a ranging market. And then we said the characteristics of an uptrend is the market will be breaking structure to the upside, creating higher highs and higher lows. There will be impulsive move to the upside and a pullback leg to the downside. So then, this is the definition of an uptrend. And we also have a downtrend. The next definition is the market that we'll be defining right now, which is the downtrend. And this is the exact opposite of what we just defined. So now, for you to have your correct downtrend, so market will be doing something like this in the downtrend. And doing something like this. So definitely, we say if this is creating a higher highs, this is the opposite, right? Market creating firstly, market will be breaking structure to the downside. When you see market creating this, creating impulsive move to the downside, a pullback leg to the upside, impulsive move to the downside, a pullback leg to the upside, impulsive move to the downside, and pullback leg to the upside. This is a downtrend. So this is a downtrend. And we have higher lows and lower high. So these are the characteristics that I'm currently just typing out. I won't be typing this, I'll just be telling you. So the characteristics of a downtrend is the market will be creating higher lows and lower highs. Lower high. And then we have higher lows. So and so on and so forth. So market, firstly, one of the characteristics of a downtrend market, if market is going downtrend, right? So the market is being bearish, which means sellers are continuing to sell. They are pushing the market to the downside. So there are a lot of what it actually means is that there are a lot of sellers in the market. So and they are selling aggressively to the downside. So this is what this is the phase market goes through, and this is the characteristics of a downtrend. The market will continue to create lower highs. When we say lower highs, what do we mean? The market, look at this high here, is low than this high here, and this high here is definitely lower than this high here. So we refer to this as a lower high because this also here is lower than this high here. And then this high here is lower than this. And this low here is lower than this one here. So you see higher low and higher low, higher low. And we have lower high and lower high and lower high because the high here is definitely this one here is lower than this, and this one here is lower than this one. And here, the opposite is the situation, and this is a downtrend. And the next trend we have, right, is a sideways trend, which this one is really very simple. When we say ranging market, a ranging market is a type of trend that trades between within a channel, right? It trades within a channel. And these are for mostly the types of strategy that people who normally trade, what's it called? The traders that trade price action. I'm trying to lower the screen so I can just picture out this. So now, a sideways market will do this. There is no clear trend when markets is ranging. So you don't really have too much movement. But then you will see the market is ranging. It's ranging because it's trading within the same area. So it's not breaking out. So the people who normally trade break out. Like I said, the people who trade price action, they normally look for this. And the clear trend for them is always when market breaks out of this range. So we have this range that market is trading on. We can actually also call this a channel. So we can call this a channel because market will be ranging. So a ranging market, the characteristics of a ranging market is that the highs and the lows are equal. They are equal highs and equal lows, right? You have equal highs and equal lows. So you have higher high and higher lows, but they are all equal. So you have your higher high, and your higher lows. No, you just have your highs and your lows because they are equal. You have your highs and you have your lows, right? And they are equal. So, and another characteristic of a, a ranging market is that, yeah, what can we see? The characteristics, they are equal highs and equal lows, and the structure are not broken. And the people who trade this type of market, we that trade SMC, the smart money concept, we avoid the market when market is ranging, right? When we have a ranging market, we stay out of it. For people who trade this type of market, they look for a breakout, right? So market can either break high or it breaks low. So there is no much characteristics for this ranging market. So we call this a ranging market when they are equal highs, no clear trend. So we can say no clear trend. And they are equal highs and equal lows. So they are equal highs and equal lows, no clear trend. Those are the characteristics of the ranging market. So, and I believe so far, um, for the definition of the types of market structure we have or the type of trend that we have, I believe this is clear. If this is clear, please type one in the chat box. If this is clear, how is it? Okay, South Sudan. Mawian Ayun. You say hi, everyone. I'm from South Sudan. You're welcome. So up to now, do everybody understand? If you understand up to now the type of markets that we have, type one in the chat box. Type one in the chat if you understand. If you don't understand, please type two. If you understand up to now, just type one in the chat box. If you understand the type of markets that we have, type one in the chat box. Okay. Okay, that's nice. I'm glad you do. So we have how many people we have here, and we just have just two people who say they understand. Does that mean the rest people doesn't? If you don't understand, please just type two if you don't understand. So I can go over it again. Okay. The little lady that little lady said he understood. That's nice. We have Joseph also who says they understand. That's nice. So in our market structure, is a little more of downtrend. Okay, downtrend. No problem. Lovety first C. No problem. A downtrend. Okay, no problem. So about downtrend, right? There's no much about downtrend. Okay, let me just you see downtrend when the market is bearish, right? When we say market is bearish, it creates there is an impulsive move to the downside and a pullback leg to the upside, right? I'll show you a real life scenario of the downtrend, but that's if I get a clear trend on any specific pair. But before that, let me make sure you understand. Let me see if I have a slide, a PowerPoint slide of this is for liquidity. Let me see if I have something here. Not like this. Okay, I'm coming. So can everybody see my screen? Can you guys see my screen? Please let me know if you see my screen, right? Okay. So I don't know if this is, we haven't actually gotten here. I'll just use my my charts. So let's look for a real life scenario. So this can be really clear. Let's say Solana. Let's see if we can see a real life scenario on Solana. Uh, okay. Um, what we just defined just now. So I want to try for this scenario here. We have so on this chart here, on this chart, I'm having a currency pair which is Solana, right? And it's paired with USD. And our time frame here, we have different time frame. 5 minutes, we have 15 minutes, we have 30 minutes, and we have 1 hour, right? So for us to have draw our market structure, the first thing you want to do when you want to analyze your charts, right? Uh, we teach you to do your top-down analysis. What do we call top-down analysis? By doing your analysis starting from a higher time frame, so ranging to a lower time frame, you pick a lower time frame for your entry, right? So you look for entry there, and you do your analysis starting from a higher time frame. So let's say we want to do top-down analysis. The first thing we want to define when we want to do our analysis, so we first define the structure, which is the topic of tonight, which is market structure. So we want to first know if the market is bearish or is uh, or is bullish or the market is ranging. So in these scenarios, let's look to see what Solana is doing, right? So and I want to give you the real example here. So now I'll pick my higher time frame to be 4 hours. So I want to first do overall market structure. What is it? What is it telling me? So right from here, right now, from what we are seeing here, right, without me even drawing anything on here, can anybody in the chat box tell me what this market is doing? Is this an uptrend or a downtrend before we even mark anything out? What do you think this is? Is it an uptrend or a downtrend? If it's an uptrend, type uptrend. If it's a downtrend, type downtrend before we move ahead. Just type in the chat box and tell me if this is an uptrend or is it downtrend. Please type in the chat box. If you think this market is an uptrend, type uptrend. If you think it's a downtrend, type downtrend before we mark out the structure. So I'll be using my 4 hours to know the direction first when we are doing our top-down analysis. So for us to know if this market is in an uptrend, in a downtrend, or a sideways trend, we are going to mark out our structure using this tool here, which is called a part two. The part two, okay? We use the part two to define the structure. And we will be starting our structure from an higher time frame, and I'm choosing 4 hours. You can actually do it on your daily time frame. So I'll use 4 hours to define the trend, and I'll use either 1 hour or 30 minutes for the structure. So on here, we have people typing actually. Everybody's Mr. Olufunde said downtrend. Atobatele Yusuf said an uptrend. Joseph said uptrend. Lovett Ifi said uptrend. And Zoom user also said uptrend. I think the majority here are carrying the votes. but we'll definitely get ways to see who is right. But I would say I already know what it is, but then let's use our part two. So I will see what the market is seeing, okay? So we'll pick our part two right from where this market starts. Let's just start marking off our trend from here. So firstly, what you want to do is starting from this beneath here, you pick your part two, you draw your trend from here, and you draw it like this, draw like this, you draw like this, you mark out your trend, and you do this, you do this, and you do this. And then market is currently here. So from here, we can see that market is breaking structure to the upside, creating impulsive move from here. You see from here, impulsive move to the upside. And did what? Pull back leg to the downside. Another impulsive move to the upside. And a pullback leg. And we are still within this structure. And there is a range here because this up here that I created, this upper trend that we created didn't break this. So we have a ranging market here. We have a ranging. And then what did market do again? Pull back, broke the structure. And then we have a pullback leg again. And we have this structure here. So market started to range again. And then there's a pullback again. And then there's another break of structure to the downside. And we have market again sweep this side up here. And it's still here. Now this market break to this side. And we have it pull back. And we have the market also pull back here. So we can see that this market in the higher time frame is still very bearish. You know why? It's still very bearish because we haven't broke this structure, this upper one. This market in the higher time frame is still bearish. Look at, and I'll tell you why, because see, market is creating lower highs. So this here is a change of character. We haven't gotten to that. So the market changed character a little bit. No, it hasn't here. It actually did change character from this area. In an like in the uptrend scenario, but then we won't be defining our structure here. Just to know the trend, right? Overall trend here is telling us downtrend, still in a downtrend because we still have the structure that have been broken, right? So even though market has changed character here to the upside again, it was creating a lower trend. So you can see market was creating, was breaking structure to the downside, right? It was breaking structure continuously to the downside. And then all of a sudden, there was a pullback that broke this structure. This pullback leg here that broke this structure here. But still, we are still in the downtrend because why? You see, this structure here hasn't been broken yet. We have this structure that hasn't been broken. We have this structure that hasn't been broken. And then we also have this structure up here. That hasn't been broken. Okay. So our overall trend is bearish. Okay. It looks bullish from here up to this area. But then currently, Solana is still very bullish because we still have this structure here that hasn't been broken yet. Yeah. So now it doesn't mean because it's in an option here in our higher time frame that our lower time frame will be saying something else. Okay. So now for we to do our analysis, we want to first define these areas. So now we know that our overall higher time frame is bearish. What is the what is 1 hour time frame telling us? So this is our area of interest at the moment. Our area of interest is here. But then if we look at this area here, we look at this area, this is where this thing gets interesting, right? Because this is where we are really interested in, right? Here we have an uptrend in our 1 hour time frame. We have the market is bullish here, and I'll tell you why. You can see from here, even without me drawing anything here, you can see there's an impulsive move to the upside, a pullback leg, right? And there's another impulsive move, and there's a pullback, and you can see clearly that this is an uptrend. From what we have defined here, you can see that market is being bullish here, which is to tell you that markets, the lower you go, the lower time frame you go, it tells you a different story, okay? It tells you a different story, and this is an uptrend. I'll clear this chart so that we can do a proper definition here. So I'll give us the both scenario here. So for the person who was asking me to define the lower time frame, the downtrend, okay? So I'll first of all do the downtrend scenario. You can see from here, if I draw this area, I'll create here, you can see here what market was doing. Here to this area is bearish. This area is bearish, okay? Because market is creating higher low. Okay, market is creating higher lows. And in fact, you can see, right? And lower highs, okay? From the definition we had earlier, okay? This high here is lower than here. So we have a lower high, low. And we also have a lower high here. One of the characteristics of a downtrend. And we have market that is breaking structure to the downside, okay? We have a structure that is breaking, we have a market that is breaking structure to the downside. So we have higher lows. And we have higher lows here again. And in fact, and there's impulsive move to the upside, pullback leg to the downside, impulsive move to the upside, pullback leg to the downside. This is a downtrend scenario in this area, just this area, okay? And now from this area, okay, from here, so and in fact, if I draw my trend line, right? If I draw my trend line, let me pick this two and draw this trend. To define this trend, you can see from here. Let me draw it from down. That this trend is down. Okay. So you can see that this market is maintaining this market gets up here, it pullbacks, and it has been trending within this range and it's down. Okay. So here, let's define this area. You can see it's uptrend, okay, because market is doing breaking structure to the upside, getting impulsive move to the upside, pullback leg to the downside, and the let's just define it and draw it. You see, market crease upside, pullback leg, upside, pullback, upside, pullback, and up again. Okay. So, and we can see clearly. In fact, let me just let me delete this. So we have this, we have this, this, we have this, and we have this. Our market also break to this down, creating this again. We have this, just ranging. All of a sudden, you can see, and it does this, pull back, and now market is here. Okay. And if I also define my structure here, you can see. So everything that we said that are the characteristics of an uptrend and downtrend will be met. Okay. So you can see from here, market is breaking structure to the upside, creating impulsive move to the upside, pull back leg to the downside, and then breaking structure again to the upside. Pull back, impulsive move to the upside. You see, here it changed character a little bit, but because it's an uptrend, so because market broke this structure, but then couldn't resist, it broke the structure back down. So we had a choke. We haven't gotten to this topic. We talked about it the last time, but now since we are picking the class from the start, here we'll call a choke, but we'll get to that topic. But then market continues to create impulsive move to the upside. So creating higher highs and lower highs, right? And this is an uptrend, okay? And if I pick my arrow tool here, you can see that the trend is in an upward direction, okay? It's in an upward direction from here. So a sideways trend. Let's see if on Solana we can see where markets were clearly ranging. Let's see if we can see the on Solana one hour. I don't see. So up to now, do anybody have any question? If you have any question, please type in the chat box. Let's look for another coin and see if we can see a coin where we can get the next example from. If not, I believe from the definition we had, that is actually also nice. So what you just need to know on the sideways trend is that market is always ranging and in the same position. Okay. Use what coin is this? I don't know. Okay, there you go. Someone said I should use a particular coin. Let me see if I can see that coin. I'll go. What coin is that? Okay, I'll go. Okay, let's see. Considering this is a new coin. Yeah, but yeah, this would have been a really perfect example. But then, yeah, this is a perfect example. In this area, market was ranging here, even though it broke out, right? It broke out, but it's still continuing in the range. Like we just call this a fake out, but it's still. But if I look from here to here, the market was ranging between this area. Okay, so if I should pick here, the perfect example. So if I should pick from this range, this is a perfect example. Okay, it's a perfect example. You can see that market was trading within this range. Okay, this market is trading within this range, and when it breaks out, so you can see from here, this market is ranging. Okay, within this level here. In fact, we can define two levels here, unless this fake out that happened here. So if I also pick this here and I drop it, you can see market was trading within this range, but there was a fake out here. There was a fake out, but the market was definitely trading within this range. Okay, this range around here, and the overall range was here. This is a ranging market, so the market doesn't have like there's indecisiveness in the market. Okay, when we say market is ranging, this is a pure example of a ranging market. Okay, so the trend is not clear. Okay, so also here there was a ranging market, but then it broke out. So this market was ranging around here, and all of a sudden it broke out, and you can see what it broke out aggressively. So it was ranging, and all of a sudden it broke out, and the market went very bullish. Okay, and then later again when it got here, it couldn't maintain the range and it broke down again. Okay, but this is the definition of and thank you who was that I suggested the coin. I think it's Zeoluzman that suggested this coin. So those are the types of markets we have in the market. We have uptrend, downtrend, and then we have a ranging market. And that's the definition of market structure. So when you are defining your structure, you want to first know, for you to be able to identify market structure, you want to know what is the direction of the market so that you can join the market to buy low and sell high. So those are the type of market we have. And I believe we've come to the end of the topic for tonight. So by the next class, I'll talk a little bit about some concepts about market structure, how to look for liquidity in the market and all of it. So if you have any question, you can please ask before we call it a day. If there's any question, type in the chat box or just unmute and ask. So Leader Oshie, are you there? Or Leader George? Do you have anybody who has any question, please? If you have any question, unmute and ask, or just type in the chat box. If you understood, please type 1 in the chat box. If you understood everything we talked about tonight, type 1 in the chat box. If you don't understand type 2, and if you have any question, obviously, you can just type in the chat box. Okay, I'm glad that everybody understood. Zoom user also, okay. Does everybody understand? Please, if you understand, just type 1. If you have any question, just unmute or type in the chat box. If not, Leader Ocean, I will be leaving the class to you. So in the absence of no question, Leader George, please, can you address the people for tonight before we call it a day? Leader Ocean, are you there? Hello. So Leader Tim Tokwa, are you there? Ah, okay. Yeah, Leader George.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay. Thanks, Leader Abila, for that wonderful presentation. I want to also thank everyone that attended today's Zoom. Please, let's endeavor to always ask questions. I can't believe that we had this kind of technical analysis class and no question at the end, but no question. But it shows that we are all understanding it. Okay, so tomorrow's Zoom, we have tomorrow's Zoom. That Temitope is here now. Tomorrow's Zoom by 8:30. So I believe Temi would say one or two things before we end today's Zoom. So thanks. Let's continue to come and learn, because we are going to apply. We'll be applying what we are learning in our trades, and we'll definitely see results. So thank you. Is Temi, are you available? So if that, okay.
Good evening, everybody. I hope I'm loud and clear. Thank you so much, Leader Abiola, for this wonderful, amazing section. I don't know how many people has learned, but if you really learn something, you can type chat box. Your time, we are really, really grateful. So please, I'm encouraging everyone. This is a section where we learn. Technical analysis is very, very important in the crypto market. I always like to see this. A lot of people pay for these things out there. They pay for it heavily. They pay for it heavily. So if you are having it on a platter of gold, please, I encourage you to maximize it. Take advantage of it. Anytime we are doing technical class, don't miss it at all. Don't miss it at all. That's the one way to grow. And you see, this skill is something that it will become part of you to the day you go back to your creator. That's one amazing thing about it. So please, let's encourage us to intensify more effort here. And let us also do it to invite our team members to come. If you have somebody that is under you, that is not in technical, encourage them. Once they have the understanding, they will not disturb you much. They'll be able to know how the market works and how the systems and the dynamics of the market. And you have less disturbance and less questions and all, and less pressure. So please, let's continue. Tomorrow is our prospect meeting, introduction to cryptocurrency. So please, I encourage us to reach out to a lot, as many as you can reach out. Tell somebody in your office. Tell somebody in that your marketplace. Tell somebody in that your workshop. Tell somebody that your next neighbor. Have you heard about RoyalQ? Don't worry about it. We will do it for you. You see, one of the excess of you coming to meeting is coming to sessions like that. Sometimes some people don't believe. But once you invite them to cross the body, you get another person that is not true that's talking. They intend to believe the person even more. Why? Because sometimes because of familiarity and all of that. So please invite somebody, tell somebody about it, share the link, and I know as leaders, your team members are the best. Thank you very much for your time. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you. Good night, everybody.